Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dima, and if this is your first time coming across my channel, thank you for stopping by. Please go ahead to hit on the subscribe button and also turn on your notification so you'll be notified when next I upload a video. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for sticking to this channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you how to cut and sew this beautiful Bubu gown with a V-shaped scrub neckline. This gown also has pocket and a drawstring at the waistline. So if this is something you like to learn, stay with me and let's dive right into the tutorial. So to do this, I have around 3 yards of my Ankara fabric and 1 yard of doll face. So I'm just going to go ahead to fold my fabric so that I'll be able to take my measurement. I fold the Ankara in a way that I'll be able to cut the front and the back together. So after arranging, I proceeded to start taking my measurement. What I did first is to rule out about ½ inch from the beginning here. That is what is going to serve as the beginning line and also my shoulder line. From that point I went ahead to go in with my neck width of 3.5 inches and the depth of feet is 1.5 inches. This is going to be the back neckline, and after marking the line, I proceeded to roll it with my ruler. And then for the depth of the front neckline, I marked 9 inches. You can make it lower or maybe higher depending on how low or high you want your neckline to be. And from the 9 inches I went in with around 1 inches, and then I roll it out. From that 1 inch, I'm going to connect it to the width of the neckline, just like this. And after rolling the line, I'm going to go ahead to mark my shoulder measurement. The shoulder measurement I'm working with is 14 inches, and I'm going to do 14 inch divided by 2. And after that, I will extend it to how wide I want the sleeve to be, and it's 11 inches. Then I went ahead but I'll mark 9 inches since I'm going to be attaching another material at the sleeve area. So after doing that, I went ahead to take my shoulder slope, which is 1.5 inches from that point I marked earlier, and then I connect it to the neckline. Then after doing that, I came down with how wide I want my sleeve to be, and then I confirm that the measurement I have in the upper side is what I'm having here in the downside. So to determine how wide you want your Bubu gown to be, you're going to be dividing with the biggest part of your body, which is in my own case is the hip. I divided the hip measurement divided by 4, and the hip measurement I'm working with is 36 inches. So I did 36 inches divided by 4, and I added extra 4 inches because it's a Bubu gown. Then I went ahead to mark the line up to the length of the gown. Then I connect with my ruler. Then at this point now, I make a curve row so that it will not be straight, and then I measured for the length of this gown. And because I'm going to be adding an extra material on this hem side as well, the length I'm going to be working with is 40 inches, but I'm going to minus 4 inches from that 40 inches. So I'll use the other material to complete the 40 inches. And I went ahead to mark the lines. Then after doing that, I proceed to cut it out with my scissors. While cutting, I left around ½ inches on all the sides for the joining allowance. Before cutting the front neckline, I separate the front from the back because The both neckline are not the same. The front one is a V neckline, while the back one is just the normal round neckline. And this is the way the back is looking when I was done cutting it. So I'm just going to go ahead now to cut out the neckline for the front. You can see how the front neckline is looking. At this point I'm done cutting, so what I'm just going to do next is to join the front and the back together on the shoulder. So I'm just going to go ahead now to pin it on the shoulder part, and then I'll head over to my sewing machine to sew. Make sure that the right sides are facing each other, and after pinning, I'll proceed to my sewing machine to sew. And this is how it's looking now I was done sewing. So I'm just going to go ahead now to measure it round, the neckline, so that I'll know the length I'm going to be cutting on the doll face that I'm going to be attaching to this neckline. Make sure to measure the neckline 2 to 3 times or even 4 times so that you get the accurate measurement. You can see the measurement I have. So this is what I'm going to use to cut the doll face. And when I was cutting, I make sure that that what I cut is a bit longer than what I measured, so that to avoid any mistake. And the width of this is around 2.5 inches in a fold. The half inch is going to be the joining allowance. And I went ahead to notch the center of this doll face, and also I notched the center of my Ankara. And what I'm going to do after here now is to go ahead to pin them together, right side facing each other. You can see that the width I have is 2.5 inches in a fold. I'm just going to go ahead now to start pinning it to the Ankara, starting from the notch I made earlier. Pin it carefully to avoid any form of mistake. After pinning it on this side, I'll proceed to pin it on the other side as well. So from the end of this neckline, I'm going to go ahead to mark half inches down on both sides. That is where my stitch is going to stop. I'll mark it on this side, and I'll also mark it on the other side, half inch. And after marking, I'll head over to my sewing machine to sew it round. And I'm going to show you what it looks like when I'm done sewing. And this is it. This is what it looked like when I was done sewing it. So on that half inches I marked earlier, I'm going to notch and stop where that half inches stop. That is to enable me to turn this over to the wrong side. I'll stop where the half inch stop, and I'll go ahead to turn it just this way. Please, if you watch this video to this very moment, please go ahead to hit on that subscribe button and also hit on the like button. Leave me a comment in the comment section about what you think about this tutorial. Make sure you push the remaining part of the fabric to the wrong side, just like this. Then go ahead to sew on top of it like this. But before then, I'm going to be holding it first with my pin before proceeding to the sewing machine to sew it, and I'm going to show you what it looked like when I was done sewing it. You can see how beautiful the neckline is looking when I was on sewing it. So for it to be more relaxed, you're going to give it a very good press. So the next thing to work on after now is to work on the extended sleeve, and I'm going to be using this piece of doffy that I've cutted. The width is around 2.5 inches in a fold, so I'm just going to place it like this on the sleeve. Then I'll go over to my sewing machine and sew it. And I'm going to be using this also for the other sleeve. And this is how it's looking when I was done sewing it. You can see how it turned out. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to attach the one that I'm going to be adding on the remaining length of this gown. And I cut it out with 4.5 inches in a fold, since it's 4 inches I need. Then I'm going to go ahead to place it like this on top of the Ankara fabric like this, right side facing each other, and I'm going to go ahead to sew it as well. And this is how it's looking when I was on sewing. So the next thing to do from here now is to join the both side from the sleeve down to the length of my bubu. I'm going to turn it over to the wrong side so that I'll be able to go over to my sewing machine and sew it this way. And this is how it's looking when I was on sewing. I'm just going to go ahead to trim off the excess part, and then I'm going to notch on this, the armhole side, just like this, so that it will be a bit more free. And after doing that, I went ahead to turn it over to the right side. What I'm going to work on next now is the drawstring that is around the waistline. So to do that, I went ahead to measure from the shoulder to my waistline, which is 16 inches, and I'm going to measure it around on the front and on the back as well. Then after the measurements, I went ahead to connect the lines that I mark with my ruler. After marking the line, I've already folded the Ankara fabric that I'm going to be using for this in the form of a bias, and it's around 1 inches. Then I'm going to sew it around following that line that I marked, and this is the way it's looking when I was on sewing it. So I'm just going to go ahead now to attach the rope I made for this. And next thing I'm going to do now is to attach my pocket, and from the place that I'm going to be attaching the drawstring, I went down with 1 inches. From there I marked my pocket opening. It's around 6.5 inches, and this is the material I'm going to be using for the pocket. The length of this pocket is around 13 inches while the width is 6.5 inches. Then I went ahead to trim it out like this. I'm just going to go over to my sewing machine to sew the pocket, right sides facing each other. And this is how beautiful our Bubu gown is looking. You can see it's looking more snatched on the waist because of the drawstrings I attached. Thank you so very much for watching this video to this very moment. Please go ahead to hit on that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you'll be the first to be notified when next I upload a video. And I'm going to be seeing you on my next video. Bye.